All right, we're live. Hello, Maricopa County. This is Stephen Richer, your Maricopa County recorder, and I'm here with Assessor Eddie Cook, and we are appreciative of you being here today to talk about a few things related to property. Today we will be discussing alerts for documents recorded in your name and personal exemption opportunities. There are, among the many county resources available to you and your family, so many resources available to you and your family, and we're going to be talking about 2 or 3 of them. We'll also be taking live questions from you. To get any of your questions in our queue, simply press 0 on your telephone keypad, and one of our staff members will speak with you privately to get your question ready for us. If your question is chosen, you'll have the opportunity to ask us your question directly live on the phone. Again, press 0 on your telephone keypad to ask a question of us anytime. So my name is Stephen Richer. I'm the Maricopa County Recorder. I am responsible for the recording of public documents, most of which relates to real estate. So anytime that you refinance your home or that you purchase a new home, you're going to come through the recorder's office. I'm also responsible for voter registration and early voting. We have an election going on right now that we're excited about, but we're also excited to be talking about the very important aspect of property, which is a vertical that I share with Assessor Eddie Cook. So Eddie, do you want to talk about what the Assessor's office does?
Well, good afternoon, and Stephen, it's great to do this with you. Hi, I'm Eddie Cook, the Maricopa County Assessor, and I am not the tax guy. That's the treasurer. I'm the guy who enables the tax guy, the treasurer, to do his job, which is to collect your property taxes. But the assessor's office, all we do is constitutionally, is fairly and equitably assess the value of your home. And today we're going to talk about some programs called personal exemptions. So those individuals that may have lost a spouse, those individuals that may have full disabilities, or those individuals that are veterans with disabilities. We'll talk about personal exemptions and how the assessor's office can help you lower the valuation of your LPV. And we'll have some more discussion about that later. Back to you, Stephen.
All right. So again, Recorder Stephen Richer here with Assessor Eddie Cook. Please press 0. We are going to be taking questions live. And those questions are going to primarily be about the 2 things we're talking about today, which is Maricopa Title Alert, which is a service to allow you to monitor recordings with your name in it, and as well as personal exemption opportunities through the assessor's office. So a bit about Maricopa Title Alert. Maricopa Title Alert is a service that functions as basically a Google search, and it searches our database, our recorded database, with the keywords that you provide it, and any time that anyone records anything that has in its indexed names the names that you have provided, it will automatically send you an email or send you a text message with a link to the document, and that way you can monitor anything that is recorded relating to your title. So what types of things can you monitor? Well, you can monitor your name, you can monitor the name of a trust, you can monitor the name of a business, and the idea behind this is if in the rare case where somebody tries to fraudulently convey something and forges a notary's signature, well then if that document goes through and gets recorded, you would automatically receive a text message or email alert notifying you of the recorded document. Then you could pull that document up, you could see if it's valid or not, and if it's invalid, you could immediately notify authorities such that you can put a stop to it. So that's the Maricopa Title Alert system. You can go to titlealert.maricopa.gov, titlealert.maricopa.gov. We already have over 65,000 users. It's only been active for about a year now, so we're very proud of that number, but we would love to see it grow by even more, and we'd love to have you join it. So, Eddie, you want to tell us about a few personal exemption opportunities now?
Absolutely. But first, I just want to remind you, if you'd like to ask a question for Recorder Richer or myself, just press 0 on your telephone keypad to raise your hand, and one of our staff members will speak with you privately to get your question ready for us. Again, press 0 on your telephone keypad to ask a question with us anytime. Again, hi, this is Maricopa County Assessor Eddie Cook. So, the personal exemptions is an opportunity for those that have lost a spouse, widowers, those individuals with total disability or those disabled veterans with an honorable discharge, you can receive some relief through the personal exemption program through the assessor's office. And let me just give you a little idea of some of the requirements for the personal exemptions. First, you must complete and sign the 2024 personal exemption application. Secondly, you have to show proof of Arizona residency, so a copy of your driver's license with work. And those that have disabilities, like for total disabilities for a resident, you'll need a copy of the Arizona Department of Revenue Certificate of Disability to be completed and stamped. And those that are veterans, you can provide us a copy of the Department of Veterans Affairs document of your disability and your honorable discharge. And those that have lost a spouse, we need a copy of your spouse's death certificate. Now, I get a lot of questions that says, well, how about, are there any income restrictions or limits? So if you have no children that are living in your home at that time, the limit is just north of $37,000 a year. And again, this is your gross income. And if you have medically or physically disabled children or children under the age of 18 living in your residence, then it bumps up to nearly $45,000. With that, I'll turn it back to Steve.
All right. Again, we're taking live calls, so please press 0 if you have a question. So backing up, the personal exemption opportunity is to reduce the amount that can be taxed on your property. So that's the end goal, right?
Yeah, the end goal is that in Arizona, when you get my Valentine's card, which is our February notice of valuation for your property, you see some numbers that are on that document that I send out to you every February. You'll see something called the full cash value, which is like the price of Zillow on your home. And then you'll see something called the limited property value, which is really what your property taxes are based on. So the exemption that you can receive is a reduction of the limited property value that is calculated. We will take off a certain amount of monies off that number. And here in the state of Arizona, the maximum amount of dollars that you can deduct if you qualify 100% is $4,476. So if you have a limited property value, let's say at $5,000, then you could subtract the $4,476 from that $5,000, which would in turn lower your property taxes.
Okay, so this is Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer, and we're talking property with Assessor Eddie Cook. And so that $4,776 isn't a reduction in your property taxes, but it's a reduction in the valuation of your property.
Yeah,
right?
The valuation of your limited property value that you get from it. That's correct.
Okay, so the two things we're talking about are, one, how to reduce the valuation of your property for property tax assessments. And then on the recorder side, we're talking about Maricopa Title Alert, which is a free service that enables you to monitor your title status such that you can just be aware of it's being recorded, and also so that you can have peace of mind concerning deed fraud. All right, we have some questions from some of our listeners. We have over 1,100 listeners right now, so wonderful to have you all. Hello, Maricopa County. And again, this is Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer and Assessor Eddie Cook. Who's up for our first question? We have Vivian on the line. Vivian, are you there? You're live with Stephen and Eddie.
I am here.
Fantastic. What's your question, Vivian?
My question is, what about us computers that are back in the 80s and 90s and have no computers and don't want one? And I'm certainly not an ignorant person. My mother was a retired school teacher and a retired art teacher, but I didn't follow in my mother's footsteps. And I do not like the technology. I don't want to be any part of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm left behind, and many more of us are the same way.
So, Vivian, I completely understand that, and there are some days when I wish I didn't have a computer or a cell phone, but this is designed primarily for people with a computer. However, we also have a text message service, so if you have the ability to receive text messages, The other option is that you can ask a friend or a family member to sign up for alerts with your name. So if you have a daughter or a son or some other family member who does have access to a computer and has access to the internet, he or she can sign up at titlealert.maricopa.gov, and that person can put in your name, Vivian, and whatever your last name is, and then if there is something recorded with that name, then they would get a link to the document, and they could say, hey, Mom, or hey, Sister, Vivian, I saw something recorded that you might want to be notified of.
Well, I have a son and I have a daughter. All my family are computer freaks. I mean, everybody except myself, and my husband has a smartphone, and but he doesn't deal with anything like that. And I don't have a what is it, Larry? I don't do email. I don't do email.
Okay.
I know it sounds ignorant now in this day.
No. Everything is good, and that's all right. I'm not here to change your lifestyle, and like I said before, I celebrate it in some ways. But this is designed for either using a smartphone or for the internet, but you can have someone else in your family sign up for it. So we really appreciate the question, Vivian. Great question. And now we have a question from Alice. Alice, you're on with Assessor Eddie Cook and Recorder Stephen Richer. To all of you who are listening out there, over 1,300 now, please press 0 if you have a question. We're taking questions live, and we'd love to hear from you. And we're now going to hear from Alice.
Yes, hello. I'd like to file a beneficiary deed, but I wouldn't be physically able to do that in person. Can I mail it in, and would it have to be notarized?
So, fantastic. Thank you, Alice. And you do not have to come down here to downtown Phoenix. There are a couple options. We do have some remote recording kiosks. We just located one in the West Valley. We're going to be opening up one very soon in the East Valley as well. However, you can also mail it in, and you can mail it to the Maricopa County Recorder's Office at 111 South 3rd Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona, 85003. However, it does need to be notarized for it to meet the limited parameters as required by Arizona law. So you will have to get that notarized.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice. We appreciate it. Again, this is Stephen Richer. I'm Maricopa County Recorder, and I'm here with Assessor Eddie Cook. We're taking live questions. Please press 0 if you have a live question. Assessor Eddie Cook is talking about personal exemption opportunities in a way to lower the amount of taxable property value. I think if I've got it right there.
You got that correct.
And I'm talking about Maricopa Title Alert. So now we have a question from Mary Lou. Mary Lou, you're live with Stephen Richer and Eddie Cook.
Thank you.
What's your question, Mary Lou?
My question is, when you mentioned that $37,000 limit, you said gross $37,000 income. Does the word income include money that I have to take out of savings in order to live, money from investments, or does that mean just your Social Security or pension?
Thank you for your question, Mary Lou. So whenever you file your income tax form every year, that is the information that we need. So whatever you include as income on your income tax, again, being federal or state, we'll take either one of them. That's what the gross income on that filing is what we're needing.
In other words, what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is that any monies that I take from my various savings are included in the word income as you use the word income.
Again, your savings account might draw interest, and you may have to report your interest that you get from your savings account. But if you decide to pull monies from your savings account that you've been saving for all those years, that's not probably reported on your income tax form. So if you are drawing from your savings account. Now, if you're drawing it from like an IRA, or you might have something else where the dollars are coming from, there are other mechanisms where you might have to report due to those kind of retirement funds. But from your savings account, again, you probably are not reporting monies that you take out of your savings account as income.
So, Mary Lou, it sounds like probably not, but that might be something you want to check when you're doing your taxes, your annual return for your taxes. But if it is not reported income on that, then it was not reported income for the purpose of that personal exemption. Again, that was Assessor Eddie Cook. He's talking about personal exemptions in order to lower your property tax bill. And I'm Recorder Stephen Richer, and I'm talking about Maricopa Title Alert in order to monitor your title status. If you have a question, please press 0. We're taking live questions. And our next question up is going to be from Ronnie. Ronnie, you're live with Assessor Eddie Cook and Recorder Stephen Richer. Fire away.
Good morning. My wife passed away on the 23rd of May. What do I have to do as far as the tax structure? Do I need to send you a copy of anything? Do I need to fill out some forms? And can this be done online?
Thank you, Ronnie. This is Assessor Eddie Cook. What we would need from you would be a copy of your spouse's death certificate. And you have the opportunity to apply for the widow exemption between March 1st and September 1st. And we have a lot of that information already online from the Maricopa County Assessor's website, which is mcassessor.maricopa.gov. And on our website, you can do that online.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, you have a follow-up, Ronnie?
Do you need a copy? Can you take a copy of the death certificate?
I believe we just need something that looks official from the county, death certificate form that you typically get. That would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ronnie, absolutely, it sounds like a copy would work in that case. And if you need someone to walk you through the process, please give the assessor's office a call, and the number is 602-506-3406. So give the assessor's office a call, and they can walk you through to make sure that you can qualify for that personal exemption in order to reduce the amount of taxable valuation on your property. So again, please press 0 if you are listening and would like to ask a question. We are taking questions live. This is Recorder Stephen Richer. I'm here with Assessor Eddie Cook, and we have our next question available. All right, we have a question from Doug. Doug, you're live with Stephen and Eddie.
Thank you. My question has to do with a few years ago I saw probably an infomercial from LifeLock. And they had a professional title thief get on and tell how easy it was to steal titles. And he was saying that by law, in most states, I guess, you could go to the county recorder's office and give whatever proof you had that belonged to you now, and they wouldn't make any effort. By law, they couldn't make any effort to contact whoever's name was on the original title, apparently, to verify that the title was changing. And it seemed to me that, well, there ought to be a law, for one thing, and if there isn't a law, it makes an industry for people like LifeLock. And comments on that, please.
So I think you've got the sum of it, Doug, and that is all accurate. Now, I will tell you that Assessor Eddie Cook and I are working on a measure to prevent it from ever happening, but you are right as concerns the law. You have to meet certain minimum requirements in order for the document to be accepted, which would include a notarization. But if you forged the notarization, then you could submit a document that would be recorded, and title to a piece of property could be fraudulently conveyed away. And so that's how companies like LifeLock popped up such that you could monitor your title status. And what we are trying to do with titlealert.maricopa.gov is simply offer you a free service that is in both Spanish and English. You don't have to pay for it, duh, you know what free means, but that will monitor your title status on Maricopa County's recording website. So, any follow-up questions on that, Doug?
Yes, I didn't write down that website. What was that again?
It's titlealert.maricopa. Yep, titlealert.maricopa.gov.
Excellent. Okay, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you have that.
Well, thank you very much. We're glad that you're going to be using it. So we'll plus one. So now we're up to 65,001 users of Title Alert. So thank you very much, Doug. All right, if you are listening and we still got a good group listening, please press 0 if you have any questions. I'm here with Assessor Eddie Cook. This is Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer. Our next question is from Patricia. Patricia has a question on personal exemptions.
Hi, this is Patricia. First of all, thank you for all the benefits that are provided to people for property tax. I really appreciate that, and I've been trying to help my neighbors that don't have computers or smartphones, get signed up for stuff. The couple things I was wondering about was the deduction in the value of your property tax for loss of a spouse. Do you file some kind of claim form or application within a certain period after the date of the loss? And is it a one-time deduction? I just need a little more information on it.
Well, hi, Patricia. This is Maricopa County Assessor Eddie Cook. Thank you for the question. One of the documents that we need is that we need a copy of the spouse's death certificate. So that would be very important. And
how long ago? How far do you go back? Is this something just current? A current law?
You can file with our assessor's office between the month of March 1st to September 1st. So during that period of time, you can file with our office for that widower's personal exemption with a copy of the spouse's death certificate. And once you get into the program, we don't anticipate your spouse to come back to life, so it's actually good for the entire time.
But does it apply retroactively?
I think you could die at any time.
Okay. All right. So and then as long as you submit it during that time period, so then it will apply moving forward.
Like if your spouse died 5 years ago and you have not submitted this form, you could file right now because we're in that window that personal exemption.
Okay. All right. Great.
Does that answer your question, Patricia?
Both of my neighbors that I've applied for things on have lost their spouse and didn't know anything about it. I also have found out that, the property tax freeze and then filing at year end for the property tax credit. Many people know about the program for the property tax freeze, but I'm finding that hardly anybody knows about filing for the property tax credit at year end.
Yes, well, that's why we're having this.
This is very appreciated.
Very much. Well, again, it's one of, I don't want to say it's one of Arizona's best kept secrets, but reporter Stephen Richer and myself have been trying to educate the public on all these wonderful programs that the county provides.
That's right, and you do have several. I will tell you one funny thing, and then I'll let you go. I signed up both my neighbors for the Title Alert, and one of them is named Mary Smith. She has a middle initial, and I filed it that way, added her to the Title Alert. But Mary Smith is a very common name.
Yes.
And so when you use a common name, you have to realize that you're going to get many alerts because they don't really take into consideration what the middle initial is. So I get a kick out of that.
Yeah. Yes. So Patricia is a wealth of information and brings up two good points, one regarding senior valuation protection and one regarding Maricopa Title Alert. So on Maricopa Title Alert, yes, if you have a common name, it will sweep in more documents during the alerts. However, it does link to the documents, and so you can go in and see if it applies to your Mary Smith or to another Mary Smith. And so you can sign up for that again at titlealert.maricopa.gov, and it only takes 2 or 3 minutes. And then, Eddie, do you want to talk a little bit about senior valuation protection, because Patricia brought that up? And again, if you have questions, please press 0 for questions. We're taking questions live, but we're going to turn and talk about senior valuation protection for a bit.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. So another program that the assessor's office provides is something called the Senior Valuation Protection Plan. So a senior who will qualify with the program, that will allow the assessor's office to freeze the valuation of your limited property value for 3 years. And then you can renew it again after 3 years. The nice part about this is that you can have both the Senior Valuation Protection Plan, and you could also take advantage of one of the personal exemptions. So you can actually take advantage of 2 programs at the same time.
So if you think that you might qualify for either the Senior Valuation Protection Program or for one of the other personal exemptions, don't let it pass. So if you have any questions, please call the assessor's office. Again, that number is 602-506-3406. And they can walk you through the process and make sure that you're applying for all the applicable exemptions and valuation protection programs. Okay, again, this is Stephen Richer. I'm the Maricopa County Recorder. I'm here with Assessor Eddie Cook. We are taking live calls. Please press 0 if you have a call. We are now going to hear from, I think we've got a different Patricia up, and Patricia has a question about Title Alert.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for hosting this call. It's very informative. My question, I have actually 2 questions. The first question is that I did sign up for the Title Alert based upon seeing news of quitclaim deeds being done on titles surreptitiously or illegally. But my question is, what if I receive an alert? What are my actions? What should I do?
So great question. I'll handle the first question. This is Recorder Stephen Richer. So if you receive an alert, the first thing that you should do is, if it looks unfamiliar to you, you should open the document. And then you should take a look at the document. And if the document does apply to a piece of property that you have an interest in, but it is not something that you authorize, then you should contact law enforcement. You can call the Attorney General's office, or you can call local law enforcement, and they can begin an investigation, and they can hopefully put a stop to it quickly. But that is the first measure that you want to take. Then you can also speak to legal counsel about any civil actions that you can take in a court of law in order to be able to reverse that. Now, I know that there have been a number of news stories, and I know that there are programs like LifeLock that talk a lot about title fraud. And we are certainly aware, Assessor Eddie Cook and I, that title fraud is a real thing. But I do not want to scare anyone on the phone. This isn't happening to the average homeowner, but it is a service that we provide such that you can have peace of mind. So again, Patricia's question was, what do you do if you receive an alert through Title Alert? Well, the first thing is you go and check out that document, and then, if need be, you call the Attorney General's office or the local police department. Patricia, what's your second question?
Second question has to do with beneficiary deeds. So we have a sister-in-law who has a deed, who is the primary deed holder, and she listed my husband as her brother and her younger brother as beneficiaries to her home. It's owned outright. So she currently has lung cancer and is imminently going to die. So once she passes away, what should we do to change the deed to both of their names as beneficiaries?
So you want to record the death certificate, and then it will go to the assessor's office, and that will change for records on the property. So then you can go to the assessor's office and check pull up the piece of property by typing in the address, and that will have changed the deed such that you can change the ownership status on there. So simply put, please record the death certificate. You can either do that online, you can do it at one of our remote kiosks, you can do it by mailing it into my office, or you can do it by showing up in person downtown at the county.
Okay, so you just bring the death certificate or a copy thereof.
Please bring the original death certificate on that front.
Okay, original death.
And then we will give it back to you. Okay.
Can we go back to my first question just for a moment, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have it again.
Okay. You said that the action should be that if the document looks like it's something that you did not approve, so somebody's trying to steal my title, and and I have to call law enforcement or the Attorney General's office, that means that document, that I'm going to call it a quitclaim for lack of anything else, that's going to continue through the assessor processes and may or may not be stopped until law enforcement steps in for me on my behalf. Am I correct?
That is correct, and that goes to the previous questioner's answer. Now, it can, if law enforcement is given enough lead time, they can put a stop to it before it goes through on the assessor's website. That usually has a 72-hour period. But it is also why we are working with both the state legislature and between our offices to see if we can come up with something that prevents it from even happening. But you are right that this is a reactive measure rather than a preventative measure.
And so if we miss that 72-hour window with law enforcement and they say, hey, there's not much we can do, then does that mean I have to hire a lawyer and go to court over it?
It is possible, but hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Okay,
yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. I appreciate it. All right, next up we have Peter. Peter asking a question about personal exemptions. Peter, you're live with Assessor Eddie Cook and Recorder Stephen Richer. And again, to those of you who are still on the call, we've still got a few hundred. Press 0 if you have a question. Peter, fire away.
Okay, the more I listen, the more questions I'm getting. But the first one is, I'm disabled. I'm on Social Security disability, and actually that's the only check I received. But I do have a house, and it's got a mortgage. But I wanted, and I'm 61, I wanted to know, is there a tax exemption or something that I can apply for since I'm on disability?
So Peter, this is Assessor Eddie Cook. My question to you, with your disability, is it a total 100% disability that you have?
Yes.
Okay. So what you would need to do is get a copy, you need to go to, there is a form with the Department of Revenue that you have to fill out that provides some information related to your certificate of disability, and that's out of the Arizona Department of Revenue. So we just need a copy of your total disability certificate from the Department of Revenue.
Okay, and then send that to the assessors?
Yeah, so then when you can then file the application for the exemption with our office with a copy of that certificate of disability from the Department of Revenue.
Okay. And a second question, you guys were talking with about the beneficiary deed or whatever, and I don't know how it works. Like, the only one I would leave it to is my niece. But would that apply if I currently have a mortgage and pass away, and or is beneficiary thing only for people who have stuff until they pay it off? what I'm asking.
No, you can still bequeath a piece of property even if it is encumbered with a mortgage, and so that would be done according to law or according to any document that you have that talks about the distribution of your assets upon death.
One other question, because you guys were talking, I think, about property tax credit. I've applied for those in the past with the state of Arizona, but they say I can't get it because I get SNAP or food stamps, that I'm not eligible for property tax credit.
No, the only thing that you will have to do with our office, Peter, is that there are some requirements that you have to be below as it relates to income, and also there is what we call a limited property value maximum, but those are some requirements that you can see on our website. And again, if you meet those simple requirements, then you can easily qualify for these exemptions.
And so, Peter, I would again point you to the assessor's website, which is mcassessor.maricopa.gov, or you can give us a call at 602-506-3406, and they're happy to walk through your personal situation and see if there are any exemptions or freezes that might be applicable to your situation. So hopefully we can get you in as good a shape as possible. So thank you very much, Peter, for your question. We're going to take 2 more questions, so if you want to be one of those 2 questions, please press 0 now. We're taking questions live. This is Recorder Stephen Richer, Assessor Eddie Cook, and we're talking about personal exemptions, and we're talking about Maricopa Title Alert. Do we have any more questions in the queue? Anyone who's sticking it out to the bitter end here with us to talk about property? Let's see. We've got Terrence. Terrence, you're live with Stephen and Eddie. Thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you for taking my call. I've been listening very closely to the title alert issue. The lady that was on earlier kind of brought up some questions that I had. My wife had received, we signed up for the title alert, and my wife and myself received a title alert, and checking it out, fortunately it didn't apply to the property that we own. So I realized that it was just a name similarity that caused the alert. But the lady that talked earlier brought up some points that I had been thinking about, and that is your office needs to have a way that if a title alert is sent out to any individual on their property, that individual should be able to submit a challenge to that change of title and tie that thing down so that title is not in the air, so that the illegal person cannot take control of the property. Now, you said, and your website doesn't tell you what steps to take. They don't tell you to go to the Attorney General or the police. It just, there's nothing there. So that helped. But I'm telling you this, and I've dealt with not the Attorney General's office, but with the police department. And the local police department here, if you call an issue like that in, they'll get to it sometime in the next century. You're not going to get any immediate assistance from the police department. And the Attorney General's office, I would imagine they're backlogged with a whole lot of cases, and I would not expect them to take any interest in it immediately. Yeah. So I would suggest that if you could, that you could have a method that when somebody gets a title alert.
Yeah, so Terrence, you bring up some really good points, and I'm going to try and knock them out one by one. So first, very glad that you're using the service. We really appreciate that. Second, yes, you're right. You need to take a look at the document, and it can be applying to some other person. Third, the Attorney General's office does have a unit that is specifically dedicated to title fraud, and so I hope that you find that you have better luck with them should the occasion arise than with maybe some of your past interactions with the police department. The other thing is you can absolutely notify my office, and this is something that we're happy to walk through with you, because this is of great concern to both the assessor and me in terms of making sure that this doesn't happen and seeing resolution if need be. Concerning a service, Terrence, we'd love to have you for a future brainstorming session, but I promise you that this is on the docket as to how to create a preventative rather than just a reactive service. This was a service that we developed about a year ago. We're pleased that it exists now. It prevents people from having to go to paid services like LifeLock. They can now just go online for free to titlealert.maricopa.gov. But we are experimenting, Assessor Eddie Cook and I and some others, with how do we make sure that you can sign up for something that wouldn't allow property to be conveyed or title to be conveyed without some extra step, without some catch, as you mentioned. So definitely in the works. Stay tuned for 2025. Come back, same time, same bat channel next year, and hopefully we'll have an even better answer for you then.
And Stephen, this is a great topic because I know all of the other 14 county assessors and myself, we've been talking to the Attorney General's office about this topic. It's a very, very important topic, and we would like to obviously stop it on the front end, and we have some ideas that we need to run through our state legislature to get them through as law. And without our state legislature creating law to help this, we have property owners that have to go through a very painstaking way to actually recover their property. Thank God it doesn't happen very often here in Maricopa County, but it does happen from time to time.
So great. We appreciate it, Terrence. And like Patricia said, yes, it can, I hope you're not in that situation because that situation can be sticky, but we would love to be notified of the situation, and we will do everything that we can to make sure that it is addressed and attended to by law enforcement. All right. We've got two more questions, and we have a question from Peter. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So the thing is, thank you for the topics and the thing. And thank you to all the callers that have called in. A lot of great information. My question is regarding to the title alert. When you go online, okay, and you want to sign up for this, okay, it mentions step 2, select the type, enter your names to be monitored. So it gives individual or businesses. Well, yeah, I know a lot of people, the title of their house or their car or stuff like that is in their name. But what do you do on this form if the house is basically house property or whatever, is listed in, say, the so-called family trust? How do you handle that?
Perfectly reasonable question, Peter, and a great question. I'm glad that you asked it. So if you are like many and the home is owned in trust, you can put the trust name under the business tag. And so if you select business and then put in the trust name, you will receive alerts based off of that trust name. I also wanted to back up again. I'm sorry I forgot to mention this, but when Terrence mentioned his recommendation for our website of what steps to take should you have an issue. Terrence, if you're still listening, that was a great point, and we will be sure to add onto our website, which we're relaunching in about a week or two. We will be sure to add steps that you can take to inform law enforcement should you see something that is not right. So thank you very much, Terrence. Again, thank you, Peter, for your question. Go ahead and pop that into the business section. All right, we've got our last call, and it's about senior valuation protection, and it's coming from Judith. Judith, you're our last caller, last question, so we're pleased to have you.
Okay, well, thank you. I've been looking at that title lock. It's very scary because if someone does that to you, and I see where some of these immigrants are actually doing that, taking over somebody's house when they're on vacation. I can't believe that could ever be legal.
Well, it's certainly not legal, and it's certainly not lawful for anyone to fraudulently convey title to property, and so that's why we have this service, and we appreciate that. But you said you had a question regarding senior valuation protection, I think?
I was talking about that because if you go to Title Lock, you have a policy that's worth $1 million because your title alert, does that have any kind of policy that goes with that? Because once they get away with taking your house, I guess it's thousands of dollars to get it back. That's just horrible.
Yeah. So that no, this service does not include any sort of insurance for against theft, but that is included in most homeowner policies, and so that's something that you would consult with your insurance agent regarding. This is more just to alert you to anything that is being recorded. But I did want to check and see if, okay, I think we lost the question about senior valuation protection, but Eddie, anything you want to say about sort of the mechanics of senior valuation protection again?
And hi, this is Maricopa County Assessor Eddie Cook. And again, for those folks that are on the call that are not aware of the Senior Valuation Protection Plan for senior citizens that own property here in Maricopa County, but it's also good throughout all of Arizona. For those seniors, if you are able to qualify under the Senior Valuation Protection Plan, the assessor's office will freeze your limited property value for 3 years. And that could be a very wonderful advantage to you as a property owner. And after 3 years, you can renew it again. So please come to go to the Maricopa County Assessor's website, which is mcassessor.maricopa.gov, or you can call my office at 602-506-3406, and one of my team members will be glad to walk you through the program.
All right. Well, thank you all very much, and thank you to you intrepid callers who have stayed with us to the bitter end. We really appreciate your time. We had over 1,800 people who came on to this, and I hope that you just take away from this that there are tools out there to help if you're a property owner in Maricopa County. There are tools to reduce the amount of taxable value in your property. There are personal exemptions. There is a title alert system. And so if you have questions regarding any of those or any of the other services provided by the recorder's office or the assessor's office, please reach out to us. So again, thank you for your time. If you have questions or need more information regarding the recorder's office or regarding title alert, please give us a call at 602-506-3535 or by visiting recorder.maricopa.gov. And as Assessor Cook just mentioned, if you have questions regarding personal exemptions, senior valuation protection, or anything else relating to the assessor's office, please give the assessor's office a call at 602-506-3406 or by visiting mcassessor.maricopa.gov. We really appreciate your time. Again, signing off for Eddie Cook, Maricopa County Assessor, and Stephen Richer, Maricopa County Recorder. Thank you.